Hello guys, and welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video we are going to be talking about battery temperature, too high or too low, and battery error. So if you have this kind of problems like battery error, please plug out charger. How can you go about so as to solve this problem or to trace the point in order to solve the problem even though you don't have a schematic diagram? So you know that this kind of problems like battery temperature too low or too high sometimes, or battery ID and battery error, please plug out charger. You will need a schematic diagram so as to trace the resistors that are connected in order to find the one that is bad and change it. But now, what if you don't have a schematic diagram? So as I said, this video is mainly for those who do not have a schematic diagram. Now, if you have a problem like battery things, a customer comes and says his phone is showing battery temperature too low or too high or battery error, please plug out charger. So even after you have changed the battery, because the first thing you have to do is to change the battery. So even after you have changed the battery and the problem persists, what you have to do is, so this problem is when you put the battery inside the phone and switch the phone on, the phone shows you battery temperature too low or battery error, please plug out charger. But in other case, it can show you that problem only when you connect the charger. It can show you the problem even when the phone is on, but yet when you connect the charger at the charging port, then you see battery temperature too low or too high or battery error. It means that the problem would be from the downboard. But if you only connect the battery and then the phone shows you battery temperature too low or too high or battery error, please plug a charger, what you have to do means that the problem should be from the upper board. Now, this is how you can go about it if you don't have a schematic diagram. So if, for example, this phone has a battery temperature problem, where you have to check first, you start checking, you put your multimeter to buzzer mode or the dial mode, and then you have to check the middle pin, which controls the battery temperature. So I'm going to check the middle pin. So when we check the middle pin, you see the value. The value is 574. So I'm going to check the point that is connected to this pin. So the point, this is the point. I've already checked it. This is the point. You see 574. Now it means that it's connected. Now what you have to do is you have to find the resistors that are linked to this point. Let me show you clearly. You see the point. You have to find the resistors that are linked to this point. Now what you have to do is you are going to check for resistors that have the same value. 574. You're going to check for resistors that have the same value. And what you are going to do, because since you don't have a schematic diagram, normally you have to use a schematic diagram to follow the track so as to find the resistors. Now, what you have to do is you are going to find the resistors by checking the same region. Like for example, if I come here, since I've already worked it, so I will show you the resistors that are connected. So when I come behind that battery connector, you see that the resistors that have the value is, you can see there are some two resistors here. There are some two resistors here. If I check it closely, you see that 5 point, the value has dropped. 5, sorry, let me check it closely. Those two resistors, we are going to measure them. It's giving us 567. So the value has dropped. Let's check it again. The value has dropped. You see that, you see now the value is 566. Sometimes it can drop. If I check it again, check those resistors. If I check the one, yeah, you see 566. You see the reading of that resistor is the same. If I put my multimeter here and then I touch this other point, you see that there's a connection. Do you see that? You see that there's a connection. So this is the resistor, one of the resistor that is connected to that point. And then the other resistor is the other one at the corner. You check the other resistor, you see that it's giving the same value. The value has dropped 564. If I check it again, you see 564, the value has dropped. So these two resistors are connected to this pin, the middle pin. So, and now these two resistors, if I show you clearly, these are the two resistors here, this one and this one. Now these two resistors, one is for temperature, battery temperature, and the other is for battery ID. And if you check it carefully, you see that this one, you see the line, you can even see the line where it's going. It's coming to this capacitor. From this capacitor, it's going to enter the CPU. And the other one is here, it's coming through this side, and it also enter the CPU. Now you see that the output of those resistors is going to be low, is going to drop. We have checked the input 5 or 6, 5, 6, 1. Now the other side, if I check the other side, see that the value is going to drop. You see now 2, 4, 5, and so also this other side 3, 9, 9. Now from this track, if you follow this track here, you come to this capacitor, you see the same value 242. So it comes here, you follow this track, and then you come to the CPU from this capacitor here. And now this other side 39 from that capacitor, it passes through this capacitor and then come. No, it's not the same. So it passes through this capacitor and then come and enters the CPU. Now, like I said, one of them, of those resistor, is for temperature, and the other one is for battery ID. Now, what will happen is that if your phone, this kind of phone, has temperature problem, you have to check those resistors. Since you don't have a schematic diagram, you have to check the resistors. Now, how will you check if the resistor is damaged, but you will not have the same value that you have from this point? Now, what you have to do is, in that case, it will be difficult because you need a spare board. You need a spare board or a damaged board. So, as used as an example, to measure and have the reading, and then track the reading from there on that spare board to the resistors that are connected, so as to know the value of the resistor. From there, then you can come now and check the value of the same resistor in this other board, the board you are trying to fix, and then you know the value from there. Then you cannot change the resistor. So In order to track that point, you have to follow the reading, as we have followed the reading the same way. So you have to follow that reading. That reading shows you that the resistors are connected to that point since they have the same reading. Now, if I want to check the value of those resistors, I'm going to put my multimeter on both sides. Let me check the value of the resistors. I'm going to put my multimeter on both sides. Let's check the value of that resistor. The value of the resistor is 873. The value of this resistor is 873, and the value of the other one 426. So this one, the one that has the higher value is for temperature, and the one that has the low value is for battery ID. Because if I take this other motherboard, you still see the same thing. Like for example, you take this other motherboard, you see that it has the two legs, two middle pin. You check it carefully. It has the two middle pin. One is for temperature, which is the upper one. You see the value is high. The upper one is for temperature. You can see the value is high. 769, and the down one, which is for a battery ID, 4949, which is for ID. So you can see, even without a schematic diagram, you can see try so as to trace the point, even without a schematic diagram, by measuring the value. So if you measure the value, you track the value, and then you measure it from here, and you see that it's giving you a value 5. You also have to check the resistors so that they are at the back. The resistors sometimes are not far. You can be at the back side. You can check it from the other side. Then when you see the resistors that are connected to the point, if in case the problem might still be that the resistors are because of water damage, so there's a rust, or it can also be that the resistors have been removed from the board. They have been removed from the motherboard, or the resistor can be damaged. So in that case, you will need a spare board so as to trace the point and follow the resistors, because in most cases, it is the resistors which are connected to the CPU are having the fault. So maybe there's no connection between those resistors and the point and the middle leg. So if that connection is not there, then it's going to show you battery error or battery temperature too high or too low. So from there, you have to follow and check each resistor to see the value that is connected, that is related to this one, to the middle pin. So it took me a long time so as to test the resistors before I got these two resistors here. So that is the way you can troubleshoot battery temperature, battery error, if you don't have a schematic diagram. For those who do not have a schematic diagram, like me, so you can try all you can that way in order to solve the problem. Sometimes it can just be it can be a rust, a water damage. So you can just clean the point. After cleaning the point, everything will be okay. After cleaning the point, everything will be working. So that is that for temperature and battery error problem that we normally face. So if there's something you don't understand, you can send me a message on the comment section and I will explain. So as I said, in this motherboard also, as I've said, these are the 2 points. You have the upper pin and the down one. One is for temperature and the other one is for battery ID. Now you have to check the value. After checking the value, from there, you know the value. Then you start check the capacitor and the resistors. Start from the one closer. But you will not check it at the network section. You may check it lightly because in some phones, like this one, the battery temperature goes to the power IC. So the resistor that you have to check will be coming from this end. You have to check the resistor from this end. And then the battery ID is going to the CPU. It's going to the CPU. So you have to check also the resistors from the other end. So it's a kind of work that is not easy. It can take you hours so as to find the same value. But to do it, it will be difficult without a schematic diagram. So you have to need a spare board like the other one in order to take a comparison and then try to measure the value of the spare board. And then when you get the value from there, you cannot change a resistor. Please subscribe to my channel and hit the like button for more videos.